if your heart feels light right now, let that presence be gratitude, a quiet awareness that you are not alone. As the night stretches on, notice a faint shift, not a sudden dawn, just the knowing that the turning has begun. Love does not always arrive as brightness. Sometimes it arrives as staying, as breathing together, as not leaving. Take one more slow breath in and release it gently. When you're ready, bring your attention back to this room, carrying with you the reminder that even in the longest night, love can be present, and that presence is enough.
So now time for joys and concerns. We had a person on our TikTok ask for prayers. They're having a lot of anxiety, which is so common for so many of us this time of year. An update on Amanda's relatives. Amanda's aunt is doing a little worse. Amanda's uncle is doing a little better. That's good. Please continue to send them love and light. We have prayers for Lisa, for her dad, and for her family, as they're still dealing with the loss of her grandpa and her dad's continued family health. For another friend of ours on TikTok who is looking for housing in Ohio, they go by Rainbow. And for Paul, who used to have our church phone. So you know, sometimes when you get a new phone number, that phone number belonged to somebody previously. And Chris just learned this. We've had this phone for almost a year now, because we've almost been to church for a year now. I get probably at least one phone call a week for Paul. Paul is in a lot of trouble. It's never a good phone call or text that I get for Paul. And several relatives that have texted or called looking for Paul have asked that we keep Paul in our prayers. Paul is frequently not being looked for by the best of people.
But Paul's ex-mother-in-law greatly appreciates that we are praying for him.
Okay, all right, that's who texted today.
Yes.
So we're going to just continue to keep Paul in our prayers. Chris did not know that I've been praying daily for this person, Paul, at the request of many people who have texted. So we'll add that to our list today. Please join with us in the spirit of prayer. Holy One, God of many names, we gather together today with hearts that carry many things at once. We carry joys, both big and small, spoken and unspoken, and we carry concerns, especially ones that are shaped by loss. Please be near to those who are grieving, who are tired, and who feel the ache of absence this season. Hold them in your gentleness and remind us that love does not end. And for the moments of laughter, connection, and unexpected light, we give thanks. Help us to notice them and share them and be them for one another. Amen. All right, and then I have Lydia for a children's story. I'll take it.
Hi everyone, I'm Lydia. My pronouns are she, her. Chris wrote this with
ChatGPT's help.
yes. I just have to get to the right page. There we go. It's called The Place That Was Waiting. Once there was a small mountain town where people lived all kinds of lives. Some had lived there for years. Some were brand new and still learning where everything was. Some lived in cozy houses, and some didn't yet have a place to call home. But no matter where they stayed or how long they'd been there, many of them felt the same gentle tug inside. They cared about kindness. They believed everyone mattered. They asked curious questions. They wanted a place where they could be themselves, exactly as they were, and feel like they truly belonged. Each one thought, I wish there were others nearby who felt this way too. And slowly they began to find one another. A kind hello at the store, conversation at the park, a brave invitation to gather and share stories. They met in borrowed rooms and open spaces. They brought snacks. They laughed, they listened, they imagined what it might feel like to build a community together. And before they even realized it, something wonderful was happening. There weren't just a few people meeting anymore. They were starting to feel like a church. They lit candles together, they sang songs. They made space for questions, for joy, for big feelings, and for gentle care. But there was one thing they didn't yet have, a home. So they began to look. They visited buildings with long hallways and squeaky floors. They explored rooms that echoed and windows that had let in soft light. And woodpeckers. They stepped into spaces that were practical but quiet, and spaces that were beautiful but didn't quite feel right. Each time they paused and asked, "Is this the place we belong?" Each time something inside them whispered, "Not yet." One day a thoughtful child said, "What if the building isn't ready yet? Because it's still learning who we are." Everyone grew quiet, so they changed the question. Instead of asking, "Can we fit into this space?" they began to wonder, could this space grow with us? They imagined a room where laughter could echo freely, where people could cry without feeling rushed, where songs and silence could live side by side. They imagined a doorway where no one had to pretend, and a space where everyone felt safe to be real. And somewhere nearby, a quiet building was listening. It had been empty for a long time, and it watched people pass by. God, why is this making me cry?
Judy just said the same thing.
It had watched people pass by and wished to be filled with kindness and care. When it heard the voices, sorry guys, of this growing community, voices full of hope, truth, and warmth, it felt something stir. I think the building whispered softly, "I'm waiting for them." And when the people finally stepped inside, they didn't say, "This is perfect." They said, "This feels like the beginning." They placed their chalice down gently. They took a breath together. They looked around and smiled. And in that moment, the people in the building understood the same thing. Church is not made of walls. It is made of welcome.
Amen.
And a home is not created where everything is finished. It is created when people choose to belong to one another.
That's right. I know that's right.
Thank you for writing such a beautiful story.
Thanks.
Thanks, I was
You're
crying.
copywriting all of these, right?
Oh, thanks.
We're putting together a little book.
Okay.
I've been working on that one for about a month, and it just that's my Christmas gift to you guys.
That was beautiful.
It was beautiful. Next time have you read a happy one. Joyful. Make me laugh.
Joyful.
Oh, you know what I mean?
A
Make me
silly
laugh.
one?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, I think we're ready for the next slide, which I
sorry.
assume, that's okay, that's fine. We're gonna go to we got a fun song. So Pastor T's got an introduction. I'm sorry, I forgot these little notes. Pastor T's got an intro, and then we're singing.
Across many cultures this season has also been marked by humor, song, and celebration. By honoring the turning of the earth itself and finding joy even in the darkness. We sing now from a playful, earth-centered tradition that reminds us that light returns and that joy, too, can be an act of love. This is to the tune of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. God rest ye merry pagan folk, let none of you dismay. Remember that the sun returns upon this solstice day. The growing dark is ending now, and spring is on its way. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. The winter's worst still lies ahead, fierce tempest, snow and rain. Beneath the blanket on the ground, the spark of life remains. The sun's warm rays to rest the seeds, to raise life song again. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh,
and the air be sweet and clean. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Okay, my favorite version of
Pretty
I
awesome,
thought a
right?
few of you might have known.
Yes.
I was not gonna let Christmas overshadow this season, so thank you very much, you guys, for joining in on some of these other holidays with me. All right, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about the Yule log, and then Danetta is gonna light it for us at some point in which I have noted, and I'll tell you, oh, I see where it is, a couple pages in, Danetta. As we turn towards solstice and Yule, we want to name something about the symbol we are using today. We're going to use this Yule log over here. The winter solstice is first an astronomical event, the longest night of the year, and the turning point where daylight begins to return. It is marked by the movement of the earth itself. Across many cultures and across time, people have also marked this moment with ritual, including a wide variety of pagan Yule traditions. There's no single way to celebrate Yule, no one set of symbols or practices that all pagans share. The Yule log we use here is not meant to represent any one tradition fully. Instead, it is a symbolic gesture, a way of honoring the many earth-centered rituals that recognize this turning of the year and the human need to mark it with fire, light, and intention. Today, we hold both realities together, the science of the solstice and the many spiritual practices that have grown around it. With that understanding, we mark this turning point, not to define it, but to honor it. On this night of the winter solstice, the earth reaches a turning point. The darkness has grown as long as it will grow. From here, the light begins to return. Long before calendars or clocks, people marked this moment with fire and flame, not to banish the dark, but to keep company with it. Yule and solstice traditions remind us that the natural world moves in cycles, and that rest, release, and renewal are woven into the fabric of life. Now we light these candles to honor the seasons that shape us, times of stillness and growth, times of abundance and letting go. We remember that love, like the earth, does not move in straight lines. It deepens, it pauses, it returns. It waits through long nights and emerges again, changed but enduring. As these flames burn, may they remind us that we belong to something larger than ourselves, to this turning world, to one another, and to the quiet promise that even now, the light is coming back. And with that, I'll invite Danetta to come up and light our Yule log for us. I've chosen 4 different colored candles to represent the 4 seasons, which again are also just a symbol because many different traditions use many different colors. But we're starting some of our own traditions this year. Merry Yule, everyone. Thank you, Danetta. This morning we heard, sorry. Oh, there it went. They're all different candles, so some of them will melt faster than others. This morning we've heard stories of lights that return, of courage that endures, and of joy that refuses to disappear. Now Pastor Teresa invites us to explore love, including the kind that can grow 3 sizes even in the darkest moments.
Great.
Yep, next slide.
Sorry. Okay, all right.
I'm going to go a little bit off script, so if I get lost, bear with me. But Oxford English Dictionary this year's word of the year is rage bait. Okay? Now, if you're not a social media person, specifically if you're not a TikTok person, you might not know what that means. But basically, it's anything that you post that initially gets people angry, or that people initially kind of think is going a different direction than maybe you're going, or something to kind of spark that anger. It's actually unintentionally how we went viral on TikTok, I simply put in the caption of my sermon about the formula experiment, Pastor T is fired up about the formula experiment. And people read that as I was angry at the person conducting the experiment, instead of reading it as I was angry at the churches behaving poorly. And so that sparked a little bit of rage bait and 3.4 million views on one video. Which leads me to ask, why is everybody so angry? Why does content that drives anger get the most views? Why is rage bait the word of the year? Well, I think because, like two famous Christmas characters we're going to talk about today, too many of us have forgotten how to love one another. Today marks the 4th week of the Advent calendar, which is the week in which we talk about love. Love of a young mother caring for her new baby. Love of a betrothed man honoring his commitment to a woman carrying a child that isn't his. Love that the baby will grow to teach us all. The Christian story of Christmas and the story of Advent is filled with themes of love. Even if that love often comes in complicated forms that aren't always easy to recognize. Much like the 2 Christmas movies I chose for this week. Possibly 2 of the best known Christmas stories in existence, outside of the Christian story of the manger, are the stories of the Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge. Again, rage bait. 2 most popular Christmas stories are about grumpy old men. They're 2 of the least loving characters on the surface, yet both of them are completely transformed at the end of their story by love. In the famous Dr. Seuss book, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Grinch is a dirty, grumpy curmudgeon who lives in a cave and despises the joyful Who's down in Whoville. He especially despises all the sounds of joy and laughter at Christmas time. So he thinks he can end it all by sneaking into the town late at night and stealing all the things of Christmas. But Christmas still came. As the story says, it came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. In the Jim Carrey adaptation of the story, we see that the Grinch is the way he is because he was bullied as a child for being different. His most painful memory of said bullying happened to him at Christmas time, and this is why he hates Christmas. It's a very painful time for him. But the love and the compassion shown to him by the tiniest Who, Cindy Lou Who, makes his heart grow 3 sizes that day. And then we have Scrooge, the cantankerous old man from the classic tale A Christmas Carol, written by noted Unitarian Charles Dickens. My favorite adaptation of this story is actually a fairly recent musical by the name of Spirited. It came out a few years ago, and in this story, the entire afterlife is a musical production. Now, if you're a musical theater kid like me, that sounds pretty awesome. And in this musical afterlife, they prep all year to haunt one modern-day Scrooge and create a ripple effect of change. They find a perp, as they call them, every year whose behavior impacts everyone around them. And they help that person change for the better. When the person learns to truly love their fellow humans, they spread that love to others. I can think of a few people who need some Christmas spirits to visit them this coming week. Can you? What's really great about both of these stories and how they're connected is how both characters became cold and hardened by rejection. And then they changed and became warm and loving through connection. Rejection made them cruel and bitter. Connection made them loving and kind. And not conditional connection or conditional love. Our opening song this morning was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And I chose that song not just because I love Christmas songs immensely, and I'm trying to squeeze as many of them as I can into this month as possible, but because Rudolph tells a different story of love. A story of love that we see all too often in the world. A story of love that is probably why there's not enough love to go around, and probably why rage bait is the word of the year. The love that the other reindeers had for Rudolph was conditional. They taunted him, they teased him, they bullied him. If you watch the old claymation animated video with Rudolph in the story, his parents bully him even. He's cast out. He ends up on the island of misfit toys with all the other castaways. He's not loved until he provides something. The love for Rudolph is completely conditional. And it's a story we hear too often. How many times do we feel like we're only welcome in a certain place if we behave a certain way? Or we're only loved by somebody as long as we are providing them with something in return? How often do we feel like we have to make ourselves presentable and lovable to receive love? How often is that even the message given by churches? How many of us here today, that's why we never were really church people to begin with? Genuine love comes without conditions. Just like with the Grinch and Scrooge, they weren't expected to change their ways before being loved. Cindy Lou Who extends love to the Grinch while he's actively stealing her Christmas tree. I don't know if I could do that. And I tried really, really hard. But I think if you came into my house and were robbing me, I'd have a little bit of a hard time loving you in that moment. Same thing with Scrooge. In the movie Spirited, there's a catchphrase, "Good afternoon," that Scrooge says with all this might and fury. And the movie presents it as that time period's version of a much more colorful, less pleasant greeting. One that might begin with an F. And so he goes around just angrily telling everybody, "Good afternoon!" And yet, love is still extended to him. In every version that we see of the Christmas Carol, we see Scrooge's nephew still trying to extend love and invitation, even though, let's face it, nobody wants him there. Much like the baby in the manger who came to bring love into a world not ready to receive it, a world that maybe didn't even deserve it, the Grinch and Scrooge had alienated everyone in their lives, and many argued that they too were not deserving of love. But they found it anyways. we know in our life who maybe isn't deserving of love? I'm sure that all of us can think of somebody that we feel like they're hard to love. Who do we know that maybe we think has had enough chances to change? Who has caused the most hurt in our lives and in the lives of others around us? Now, what if that one person were to learn how to love? What kind of ripple effect could that create? How could we, through our love, teach that person how to love? Now, and it is argued in the spirited version of the Christmas Carol that some people are unredeemable. But that's actually ends up being the point, is they take on an unredeemable person. Who you think there's no way this guy is going to change. This character is played by Ryan Reynolds, and honestly, I think he's less lovable as Ryan Reynolds than he is in Spirited than he is in Deadpool. Honestly. But he changes. And he changes because he learns to love the people around him. In addition, today marking the 4th week of Advent, as Chris so beautifully shared this morning with our other readings, today also marks the last night of Hanukkah, and today is the winter solstice. Both of those holidays remind us of the power of light to overcome darkness. Over the years, we have these days have become a symbol for how love overcomes hatred. Every year at Hanukkah, it seems there's some story of anti-Semitism towards people with their menorahs in their windows. Every year. And yet every year, the Jewish people persist and they put up their menorah. It's a heritage of culture that Chris and I feel so honored to share with Sage. And this year, Garrett being here with us. Because it's a reminder that just that simple act of lighting up the darkness tells the darkness it can't win. And that simple act of loving the people who are so hard to love helps us tell hatred it can't win. Because at the end of the day, we have to believe that love will conquer hate. So tonight, as the longest night of the year will come to a close, and the glow of the final Hanukkah candles will be lit, we're reminded that love does not wait for the world to be ready. Just like light does not wait for permission from the dark, love shows up anyways. It shows up in caves, in miserly, lonely homes, in stables, and in broken hearts. It shows up for people who are hurting, hardened, defensive, and afraid. It shows up for people who have been rejected, and for those who have learned to reject others in return. The invitation of this season is not to decide who deserves love. The invitation is to practice love. As we often say here, love is a verb. It requires us to move and act. To be the Cindy Lou Who in someone else's story. To be the unexpected candle in a long night. To let love soften us where rejection once made us hard. May we carry that love beyond this season. And may the light we tend tonight be strong enough to change us and gentle enough to change the world around us.
Get ready for a peppy song, guys. During this season of light and love, we celebrate not just one story, but many ways people find meaning in the long nights of winter. I think Sage just might be getting ready to dance. Today also marks the last night of Hanukkah, the winter solstice, the turning of the year toward more light. Around the world, across cultures and traditions, people have gathered at this time to honor the light that comes even in the darkest moments, and to give thanks for the love that shows up before it is earned. In that spirit, we offer a song that reflects one of those traditions, an expression of winter celebration rooted in earth-centered and folk practices. A pagan Christmas reminds us that this season has many voices, many stories, and many ways of honoring connection, community, and the rebirth of light. As you listen, let it be a reminder that love and light are not confined to a single narrative or calendar. They arise in many forms, in many hearts, and in many songs. Let us receive this music with open ears and open hearts.
Hey, Christmas, we had it first. You were all burning while the cold night burst. Every blessing and the sun returns. It's still a holiday now. Everybody learns. Raise a horn, make it loud, make it thunderous. Christmas was paid on this holiday. Mistletoe magic hanging by the door. Lord, skies like the light they've seen this before. Reaching by the heart, opening on the wind. So fire, please let the light begin. Holly and ivy, song to a song. 12 nights feasting at the winter flow. Before the manger, before the church choir, we dance round the pine and lit that fire. Deck the halls with roofs and rooms. Kitchen spirits, winter moon. Call it jolly, call it bright. Ladies lit the first feel light. Hey, Christmas, we had it first. You know burning while the cold night burst. Every blessing and the sun returns. They still a holiday now. Everybody learns. Raise your horn, make it loud, make it thunderous. Christmas was paid on forwarded. Bring the wassail, bring the cheer. Turn the wheel for another year. Krampus creeping down a snowy trail. Run, naughty children, keep don't do the gale. Feast on apples, cakes and spice. Toast to life, no rolling dice. Saturn's feast to winter's crown. We made the magic, they roll it down. Tinsel torches, candles bright. Calling the victor's longest night. Call it holy, call it sweet. Pagans had the first lady. It's a May Christmas, we had it first. You know burning while the cold night burst. Every blessing till the sun returns. They still a holiday now. Everybody learns. Raise your horn, make it loud, make it thunderous. Christmas was paid on holiday. Ho, 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 in the old town breeze. You'll go stomping through the snowy trees. Keep your cookies, keep your shelf. We feed the elves with the forest elf self. Just kidding. Relax and churn butter. Raise that weed. The hole gets louder. It's a May Christmas, we had it first. You know burning while the cold night burst. Every blessing and the sun returns. They still a holiday now. Everybody learns. Light the tree, let it ring, let it thunder us. Christmas was paid on tomorrow. You came first. We remember.
The things I find on TikTok.
I'm sharing that on Facebook later.
I am so grateful to have you all here celebrating this first UU December holiday season with us. I cannot even begin to tell you how much it means to me. I really hope you guys enjoy what UU is, because it's all of this stuff and it's fantastic in my opinion. As we enter into this time of offering, we remember that generosity shows up in many ways, especially during this season. At Mountain Unitarian Universalists, we don't pass a plate. There's a bowl where there used to be a QR code by the welcome table. I lost it this week. Let me know if you need it today. It is also on the website, mountainu.org. You can also give online or under ways to give. Checks can be made out to Mountain Unitarian Universalist or use our handy stamp. Envelopes are available if you'd like your cash donation tracked. In this season, we also honor that giving isn't only financial. Some give money, some give time, skills, food, rides, listening, or care. Some also give us beautiful patchwork banners and crafts, including things to take home. That's all from Amanda, y'all. Thank you so much, Amanda. And some seasons call us to simply receive an important gift too. Please remember that. We love it when you let us give something to you and you receive it. Whether that's prayer or time or assistance with food or finances or anything that we're able to do. All of this supports our mission, love in action, creating change. We're a volunteer-run community committed to transparency, and financial information is always available. However you give today or throughout the season, thank you for being a part of this community. And we'll turn to our announcements. That's the next slide. Announcements available on the website, on the drop-down menu, or on a bigger screen. They go across the top and over to the right. Go ahead and go to the next one. So this year, we have something called Blue Christmas. A lot of you used to do it, and it's a special time for people who have a tough time with the holidays or are grieving or mourning something during the holiday season. And this year, we will be using our grief group time for that. So it'll be regular grief group, but we'll have sort of a Blue Christmas theme. And you can join us for that on Zoom. There's a link on the website. Healing is canceled for Wednesday here, but if you are at all available, please do come join us at 4:30 in North Fork for an amazing, what would you like to call it, Teresa?
Christmas pageant.
Christmas
Modern,
pageant
a modern Christmas pageant.
with wonderful singing, music by Judy, singing by Teresa, with Jessica maybe joining in.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of some of the script, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Sage and Garrett will be the cutest angels you ever did see. Just one mom's opinion. So that's coming up at 4:30. Next couple Sunday mornings, Pastor Advisory Team and Pride Team, as well as I believe the crafting thing is going really well. So you may see crafts over the next few mornings as well. Anything else? Thanks for the hospitality. I know we have a couple of updates here. And remember, always it's fine if you just feel like bringing something and it's not your week. And I think we had a lot of that because we have got so much food over there, you guys. So please do stay and eat snacks with us. And I think that that's everything until music time. Pastor T, you want to come lead us in this little light of mine? Here she comes. We're on. Ready. Everybody's almost ready. There's a bunch of lights up here. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. up, you got plenty to blow out. Some celebrations have reached their fullness and others are still unfolding. Hanukkah has completed its journey of light. The solstice has turned and the days will slowly grow longer. The Advent season continues, now carrying its central flame, and the Menorah waits for us, ready to be lit in all the days ahead. Not everything ends at once, not everything begins at once, and that too is part of the wisdom of this season. As we prepare to leave this space, we gently release the flames we have kindled today. We extinguish these lights not because their meaning has ended, but because they now live beyond these wicks and wax, carried in memory, in practice, and in care. We have honored traditions of waiting, courage, and renewal. We have marked the turning of the earth and the enduring power of love. Though these flames go dark, the light they represent does not. We leave the candle of community still burning, a reminder that our care for one another does not end when the service does, and that love continues wherever people gather, listen, and show up. And we name what is still to come, including the Menorah, present with us now, awaiting its time next week, when we honor Kwanzaa and the values it lifts up. May we go from this place carrying the light we have shared into long nights and bright moments, into acts of love, small and large, in the seasons ahead. And let me bring you the benediction over there.
I got it.
You sure? Okay. All right. Next slide.
You know, it's funny, actually, one of my favorite TikTok videos is of a mom who is a pastor who was trying to light the Advent candles, and her toddler in a Sully costume from Monsters, Inc. simply could not sit still and needed to be with mom while she was lighting the Advent candles, and everybody was calling him the Advent Monster. So it's very cute. I don't know, something's reminding me of that right now. May love meet you where you are, light guides you through the longest nights, and connection soften every hard place. As you go, carry this light with you into your homes, your relationship, and your world. May you be the ripple. May love be the ripple you create. Amen. Blessed be, and so it is.
Thank you.